2023. Mother Gaia, third dimensional planet, ascending into fourth dimensional collective consciousness. Azure,
Grand Rising Captain.
can you give me the update on third dimensional planet Gaia?
Yes, Christo, with pleasure. Gaia 3D currently is under critical condition. It seems there is a large amount of humans that have forgotten who they are, causing confusion, division and war driven by fear.
Thank you, Azure. Before we head down to Gaia, can you give me any information about the 3D world, as it's been a while since I've been there?
Sure, the 3D Gaia. We will face much resistance from negative polarity beings as a dual plane. Karma and Dharma are in effect. There is free will. It will be wise to protect our energy and hold love.
Alright, thank you, Azure. Sounds like we have quite the task at our hands. But that's why we're here, and that's why we've been called upon in the Galactic Federation to go down to planet Gaia, the 3D realm. Alright, Azure, let's get ourselves ready to go. Let's hit the time portal and make sure we land in the present day, Mother Gaia, third dimension. Whoa, oopsies. Yeah, not that one. Okay, let's try this one. Maybe this is the portal. Oh yeah, Azure, this is a little too far in the future. I think we need to kind of go back a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Modern day Earth.
Captain Christo, as we approach, I will prepare our guest suite on the mothership for the souls we hold space for. Oh, and Captain, I will be sure to leave plenty of storage for earthly food delights to take for our travels.
Oh my gosh, Azure, you never fail to make me laugh. You know those earthly delights? That good old food of earth. Absolutely gotta have that food of earth. Thank you, Azure. Alright. It is time. It's time to make our way down to 3D Gaia. To hold space, show love, compassion, bridge the conscious collective, and help provide knowledge and wisdom and tools so fellow souls can remember who they are, live in a unified mind state with a harmonious being, with holistic, conscious practices and tools that they may access efficiently and quantumly.
Welcome aboard. I am Azure. Please get cozy. Grab a tea, snacks or crystals as we prepare for a sacred light conversation. The sacred holding space is down the hall to the left. Wholeness, balanced love.
Una tikiana sutukuana shikiana ta isiana shukututa. Hey, paging in. Azure, how are you doing over there?
Grand day, Captain Christo. I am beautiful and found our next starseed guest to join the mothership.
Glad to hear you're beautiful over there, Azure. I have to say I'm about the same. Before we head down into the third dimensional Earth grid, who is it that you have found to be our next sacred guest to help us arrange the planetary grid and the coding system?
Althea is a multidimensional channel. She delves into the intricate language of light and its role in awakening our divine potential. She assists in clearing timelines and accessing the Akashic realm. She is a galactic contactee, Reiki practitioner, Kundalini yoga teacher, tarot and divination astrologer. She was born in Milan, Italy and currently in South Africa. Her main energetic imprint is of rainbow ray spectrum, working very closely with a 9th dimensional Pleiadian being and a 12th dimensional mantis being. Her specialty being light language, she channels higher dimensional frequency codes, 5D and up, and anchor them in the 3rd, 4th dimensional matrix construct, and in doing so help raise the planetary frequency.
Share to the best of my ability.
Grand day, everybody. Welcome. And we are here for another Sacred Light Conversation podcast. I am your host, Marcus Christolight of Sacred Light Healing and Wellness. And today we are being joined by a divine sister that specializes in many different practices of holistic quantum healing energies. And that is, she goes by lightcodesbyala or lightcodesbyala. And just so I say it correctly, your name is Althea?
It's Althea. The H is silent.
Althea, okay. Well, thank you for joining us and being a part of this episode. And I really felt called to reach out to you due to the service that you provide to this planetary system. And I've definitely been following you for a while, and I've seen much benefit and an impact upon your light language throughout the time that I've come across it. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to share and broadcast your passions, your purpose, and the things that you've been doing to serve the collective with the collective that has been connecting with me. So thank you for joining us and being a part of this podcast today to share a little bit about your passions, your soul, and the things that you find the most important in this lifetime.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for having me, and thank you for, giving me the time and the space to express and to be present. So I mean, for me, really, it's really about listening. It's about listening to yourself, listening to your guides, and following what brings you joy, following what allows you to stay anchored within the heart center and operating from that space of unconditional love, from that space of compassionate non-attachment, releasing that judgment, and just really allowing for the infinite flow of love and of source consciousness to flow through you. And I think a way to get closer to that is anchoring into gratitude, staying present in the now, but really following the joy that your inner child wants. So if something makes you happy, if it makes you excited, if you think about something and you're like, oh wow, like I really, it doesn't matter how small it is, then That's generally a good direction to go. So that's how I try to live my life. That's how I try to operate on a day-to-day basis. I'll wake up, I'll anchor into gratitude first thing, and then I'll kind of like navigate my day from the space of compassionate non-attachment, where I'm objectively observing everything that's happening, but also at the same time, I'm following the joy and the happiness, and kind of like what brings me light, what brings me unconditional love, and what brings me peace as well, on a day-to-day basis, and even within my standard very 3D chores that I have in the day to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And so I'm kind of curious, because being a part of these 3D vessels and 3D experiences, we go through different energetic experiences and we can accumulate density. And that density can then create blockages within our field. Now, what are some of your routines, or what are some of your go-to practices in your day-to-day life that allow you to be able to clear out those channels and clear out the density within your field, if you do mind sharing?
Mhm. No, of course, I'd love to share what I do in my own practice. So it really depends. I'm quite structured, so I'll generally do a lot of movement. So I'll do in the morning. I'll either do like yoga, qigong. I'll do like cardio, weights. I just move through energy a lot on a somatic level, just to help my body, especially because I have a very active astral space. So I'm navigating a lot in the astral, and then sometimes you come back and you just need to kind of like finish moving through those experiences, within your 3D. So I'll do that. I'll generally do some shielding. I'll do a standard shielding practice. Obviously, we always shielding out of love, and we're never shielding out of fear. It's really important, because a lot of the time people come to me and they're like, oh, like, I'm really scared. Should I shield myself? And I'm like, that's a little bit counterproductive. You just want to really be shielding yourself out of love. I then kind of like to set my intentions for the day, or, say, this is kind of like where I want to go, what I want to do, or attainable goals and things like that. I'll obviously be speaking to my guides on and off throughout the day. And then, yeah, I mean, I meditate. I'm not like a master meditator. I don't meditate for hours. You can if you want to. You don't have to be a master meditator to operate from a high vibrational baseline frequency. Meditation is just a tool like everything else. It will assist you in your process and in your journey. But if you want to meditate for hours, do it. But like most of us have like jobs and lives and children and appointments and things to do. So it's not really realistic to say, oh, I'll take an hour every morning to meditate. If you can, great. Keep on doing it if you're happy with it. But you don't have to meditate for hours on end. What you reach in your meditative state, which is the space of 0 point neutrality, compassion, non-attachment, objective observation, quote what you want to carry throughout your day. So once you learn to anchor into that and you start operating from that space on a day-to-day basis, you don't really need to meditate as much, because you're already embodied within that frequency, and you start operating from that space already. But anything that grounds you, anything that brings you in the moment, anything that you're passionate about, any hobby, anything that makes you happy, anything that brings you back to that childlike joy, like I mentioned earlier, would be a good direction to follow. So with regards to me, yeah, again, intuitive. I do a lot of ritual. I work a lot with candles, with incense. I work with crystals. So it really just depends. I'll do new moon, full moon rituals. And I'll, kind of like see how my day goes and see what I need within that day. I've got a pyramid, like a copper pyramid, that I sit in to meditate as well. So that really helps me to bring me back to center if I need to. So it really depends. But movement is really important for me. And then really just staying present.
Excellent. Wonderful wisdom. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, something, a little bit of insight into me too is I have two things that I keep in routine every rising. And those two things are a 10-minute chakra balance meditation. So then I can clear out my energy centers from that transition of, astral back to physical, and then allow that integration process to really be a process that's being supported. And then also I do about 10 to 15 minutes of yoga right afterwards to help integrate the light body into the physical body. And that's really my routines. And after that, I just kind of allow my day to unfold from that. Kind of like what you were saying. You kind of like create your core based off of the self. And then from that core, kind of allow your intentions and amplifications to attract and be through that. So I have a very intriguing question that I want to ask, and that is, well, actually, let me start with, what was your upbringing like? What was the childhood like? And did your childhood and any of the experiences that you had, what was any of those experiences like major catalyst into you becoming aware of this path that you're on now? And did it have a big part in you acquiring these passions and these services?
So my major like catalyzing experiences I actually had in my 20s. As a child, I was always very psychic. I come from a long lineage of witches. My mom's psychic, my grandmother was psychic. They never really did it for a living, but all the women in my family have always been psychically in tune and aware. And for me, I was one of those kids who would see shadows and not be able to sleep and see portals and things like that. So I started, I mean, I got my first tarot deck at 12, I think, and I started very early to kind of like have an interest in these things. But it's only when I really anchored into my Reiki practice in my early 20s that it kind of like solidified. And I was like, okay, this is the direction I can go down. This is something I could potentially do for a living, and whatnot. So it was more like that. When I was younger, it was kind of like I was also very open, so I would get very overwhelmed very easily. And so then obviously like that brought me into like experiences of like numbing myself and not feeling all the energy around me. And then that had to shift. And then I had quite a few different experiences later in my mid to late 20s, where I literally like had these intense perception switches where I was like, oh, okay. And and then yeah, and then my journey kind of like took the direction that it has now. I think the pandemic for me was also like a big thing because I had to close my studio. I had a Reiki studio and I had to move all my work online. So that was like a very big pivotal shift that had to be done. And I always say, you know, like for me, I learned to do all this in person. And I mean, I only think if you're able to really do it in person, then you can actually move and operate online. It's very difficult if you want to start doing this kind of work to start doing it from online. You can, but you know, it's always nice to have kind of like the option to have the basis and the learning to do both. So my training is in Reiki, and that's kind of like the training that I had. And then my light language activated back in 2017. I started posting videos. There were maybe 10 light language channelers online at the time. There were really not a lot of people doing it. So it was quite a big thing at the time when I posted it for me to do, because I was like, you know, like it's like, what are people going to think and all that. So it was very interesting how then it kind of like evolved itself, if it made sense. I had quite an intense experience in 2018. I had these beings come down and try to like work on me and try to kind of like, I don't know what they were trying to do, but they weren't very nice beings. So then I had to go back in the quantum realm in the astral space and tell them to kind of like leave me alone. So that was a very big perception switch. It was a very 3D experience. They were physically in the room with me. It was three great beings. And I came back as my higher version of self when I went in quantum hypnosis like a week after or so, and I commanded them to leave and I communicated with them and then they left. So I was like, okay, well, you know, if there's these type of beings, then there must also be like really good beings. So why don't I try to connect with them? And that's kind of like when I had that big perception switch that I went more into doing what I do now. And then, yeah, and then I kind of, again, as I say, like I kind of just stopped and listened. And, you know, I feel like I'm consistently divinely guided, and I am where I am, you know, thanks to my team, my guides, you know, and it's a collaborative effort all the time, you know.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so This period that you're talking about, so were you in, because I know you were born in Milan, Italy, and now you're currently in South Africa. So did this really kind of start happening when you were living in Italy, or were you already in South Africa?
So I grew up in Italy and I moved to South Africa in my early 20s, but I always did a little bit back and forth. So I was in Italy for a bit and then I was in South Africa for a bit. So I've always traveled quite a lot. I would say that yeah, it kind of happened. Well, I mean, I had different experience. I had the intense experience of the beings was actually in Italy, but then I had other intense experiences here in South Africa. I had a lot of light language channelers work all on me at the same time back in 2017, and that's when my channel was really blown open. And that happened in South Africa in the middle of the Karoo Desert, which is the regional Burning Man event that they have here. So that was really
Wow.
beautiful and intense. So I would say a little bit of both. I was holding grid on both sides. So yeah, I can't say like more one side, more the other. You know, it was yeah, it was a collaborative effort again.
Okay, wonderful. So I'm really interested to hear because I know for my own self, I've definitely dealt with these type of experiences, and I know many other star seeds and light workers are as well. And that is, how do you manage and how have you managed addressing or accepting or facing when there's negative comments or there's limited beliefs or religious dogmas being thrown at you for presenting yourself in your authenticity. I'm sure you've had a little bit of it at some point in your path. I'm kind of curious, how did you handle those situations if they occurred, such as like comments on social media or people trying to debunk or kind of call what we do false?
So first of all, I think that the information goes where it's needed to be seen and heard. So you'd actually be surprised when you start operating at these levels. You really don't get a lot of like, I thought I was going to post my light language and people are going to be like, oh my God, she's crazy, she's insane. No, it actually just goes right through. Like people who are not supposed to see it are like not going to see it. It's going to go where it needs to go. But then obviously like it happens here and there to get like trolls and things like that. If they are disruptive, you know, I have creative freedom over my channel, so I will make sure that they are not allowed to comment or be on my channel again. But obviously, when you hold like quite a big collective container, that's quite difficult. So in the beginning, like if it happened, I remember like it's happened maybe once or twice that someone would like insult or call me crazy or things like that. Like I don't, because you know, from an energetic perspective, if someone says something like that to you and you don't set a boundary, you actually telling the universe you're accepting it. So for me, it's like really unacceptable. So it's actually just like that's not going to happen. Like not on my channel. You can go somewhere else if you want to troll. But constructive criticism, I will always take, and I'll always be happy to respond and share and expand. And sometimes people are just curious and they don't necessarily understand, but they want to know a little bit more. I find that the, you know, that I've never had to deal with like, just trying to think. Yeah, sometimes I'll get people like, oh, Jesus will save you, oh, you're possessed, and it's just, you know, it's their own projections and it's just a reflection of, you know, their own inadequacy and their own beliefs and their own programming. So you can just hold love and compassion for them. So I'll send love and healing to them as well. But with regards to like, on a more practical level, how I manage it, I don't really allow any kind of like insulting on, you know, on my platform, because again, if I allow that, then I'm saying to the universe, oh, that's okay, and then they can send more to me. So they don't send me any because I literally don't allow it, so the problem then kind of solves itself. That's how I've been managing it for the past few years.
Okay. So kind of like a mental detachment of allowing it to just be what it is and then shifting your focus, so to say. Is that what you kind of say is in
Yeah,
alignment
I
with that?
don't Yeah, I don't really have any attachment. I don't base my value on other people's opinions. So I don't really care if people, you know, but if, again, if there are people that are insulting or things like that, I'll just remove them from the channel or block them or restrict them or whatever, you know.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to ask that because that was like more of what I felt like was a collective question for those that are kind of in their beginning stages of going public with their gifts. So thank you for that answer. I really appreciate that. And let's see. So you are a light language channeler, galactic contact, Akashic and psychic healer, Reiki practitioner, Kundalini yoga teacher, tarot and divination astrologer. Okay. So it says here that for 15 years now, you've been practicing Reiki, tarot, and divination. Now, where do your yoga and other practices tie in with the light language? Is there anything that you like to combine or authentically kind of present in your own type of way out of all of your services?
Well, I mean, my programs and what I offer are all inclusive. So I trained in Kundalini yoga and multi yoga in India and Rishikesh in 2022. So I'm qualified to teach that as well. So I kind of like take all my different skill sets and I then create programs or workshops or courses and trainings for people. I actually train people to be able to do then what I do as well. So I don't know if this answers your question, but yeah, I would say everything has its. I mean, I'm also a qualified hypnotherapist and neurolinguistic practitioner and mesmerization, and I did all of that. I don't really offer it, but there is stuff that I learned in that I do and I give in my trainings when people come and work with me.
Discover the magic of holistic healing. Join us in Blue Ash for a retreat like no other. Picture this, a full day in Blue Ash, Ohio, immersed in healing and creativity. On October 26th, from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., Sacred Light Healing and Wellness is hosting a one-day retreat you won't want to miss. Dive deep into your inner child with Christolight's powerful workshop. Heal those mother-father wounds and transform your life. And that's just the beginning. Get artsy with live painting by Columbus artist Thomas Cox, or try festive hair aesthetics with Chelsea Hall. When the sun sets, experience the mesmerizing fire and flow arts with Chris Rust. Feeling crafty? Carve pumpkins, enjoy therapeutic freestyle painting, or indulge in one-on-one holistic healing session. Reiki, DMT, breathwork, and card readings await you. Hungry? Savor homemade plant-based chili for lunch and a delicious dinner of salad, chickpea pasta, and mashed potatoes. Plus, reishi coffee to keep you energized. All of this for just $44, and kids 12 and under are free. It's a sober event, so everyone can join in the fun safe. Register today with the link in the description or DM Marcus Christolight with any questions. Come out, heal, and have fun with us. See you there.
Okay. Yeah, wonderful. And then actually I pulled up here. I'm gonna put it on the screen share. You have a workshop coming up on 11/11, Law of One
Correct,
Galactic
yeah.
Rainbow Dragon workshop. Do you care to share a little bit about this?
Sure. I'm going to be working with my friend Kirsty, and it's going to be really, really powerful. I think it's going to be about 2.5 hours. We're going to be taking questions as well. We're going to be doing a lot of timeline and karmic clearing. We're going to be doing light language. We're going to be upgrading the systems. And yeah, we're going to teach, also people how to understand the coding and how it works and how they can use it to their advantage and to their benefit. It's going to be a full system upgrade, a full system recalibration. We're going to be working with the 1111. So it's going to be working with the four elementals, the four archangelics, the number one. There'll be a bit of numerology as well that we're gonna kind of like speak about. I will be also giving some codes in it, some digital codes. I think there'll be 3 digital codes. And then we'll be speaking a little bit on how to anchor into the new Earth grid structure. We're going to be working with the rainbow ray spectrum. So we're going to be using frequency and codes from the whole rainbow spectrum structure and also from colors that are not actually existent here. So we're going to be working with very high dimensional and high vibrational frequency beings. And then obviously we will be working with the dragons and the dragon collective as well.
Beautiful. And people sign up for that.
Sorry, you just glitched for a second.
I was asking, where can people sign up for it?
Just on my website, althealucrezia.com, or from my link tree in my Instagram, or if you go on my YouTube, there's all my links at the bottom as well.
Wonderful. Awesome. So for everybody out there that may be kind of fresh to what light language is, what are some of the benefits of light language mentally, physically, emotionally? And also, kind of like, what is light language and how can people that are new to it come to an understanding and a clarity of what this is?
Yeah, so I mean, light language for me is literally the new technology that's coming in to assist, with the ascension of the planet and raising the vibrational frequency of the individual and the collective consciousness. It bypasses the conscious mind, so it works directly on the DNA structure. You don't have to understand it to be able to receive it. It is a expression of the soul. It is a direct connection to source frequency. It operates in fifth dimensional density and up. Whenever there is distortion, that's because of the of the channel itself. But the light language within itself is almost like it's intergalactically recognized as well. But if you think about it, people have been channeling since the beginning of ages. So there's been like talking in tongues. So it's been something that's been around for very long. It's just more galactically infused right now because of what's happening with the frequency of the planet. So what it was like maybe 100 years ago is very, very different to what your light language would sound now, if it makes sense. So it works on activating, dormant DNA, and it will go where it's needed in your system. The codes are intelligent. They work in the quantum space and the dimensional density, so they work beyond space and time. I can code light language and say it now, and you receive it tomorrow, or whenever it's best for your system to receive it. You can actually time the codes for them to go in the correct time. It's almost like they have an awareness of their own. And light language can be expressed in many different ways. It can be written, it can be sung, it can be through movement. It's just called language for convenience's sake, but light is information, so it's codes of information that come through, and then they go and get integrated, wherever it's best for the individual system or the collective.
Wow, beautifully articulated.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've been light language activated for roughly 2 years now, consciously, and it has been one of the most profound shifts in my life is coming into awareness of light language, and the efficiency and effectiveness of it is so beautiful. It's really amazing when we tap into these quantum level practices, as it really demonstrates and shows us that we truly don't need anything outside of us other than just our chi and our openness with the channel of source. It's very powerful. So let's see here. I know that it says here that your main energetic imprint is of the rainbow ray spectrum, and that you work closely with ninth dimensional Pleiadian being version of yourself, as well as a 12th dimensional mantis being. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Sure. So these are two beings that came to me very early on in my ascension and awakening process. The mantis being is also connected to lifetimes I had in ancient Atlantis and Lemuria, and that's kind of like where I get my more technology-based codes that come through, while the ninth dimensional Pleiadian being is also a version of myself that is more evolved, and it's where I get kind of like the more of the rainbow ray spectrum and the heart centered and the heart opening and all that healing. But it's just different parts of me, because we are so multidimensional, and the more you go through, your own healing, the more you do soul fragment retrieval, the more you integrate these parts of yourself, the more multidimensional you become, the more gifts you open, the more you activate, the more you expand, and the more you can have access to all these things that, go beyond to what we are thought that our existence and our experience is on earth here at this moment in time. So for me, it's really just a matter, again, of listening, you know, of being present. And yeah, I've been working with these beings, well, this part of me for very long. And yeah, and I'm very, very grateful to be in a space where I am aware that this is going on, you know, and my channel's very embodied. So I don't, it's, for me, it's not like I need to stop and focus and connect and tune in, like I'm present. So I generally will use claircognizance, which is just kind of like the knowing. I mean, I've got my clairs, they developed, I can use them if I want to, but I'll generally just use claircognizance because it's just easier whenever I'm making a decision or doing something, or, you know, even working with clients and things like that. I'll still get the visuals, but yeah. So my advice is, you know, for you guys out there, if you want to learn to connect more and to anchor more in these higher versions of yourself and multidimensional aspects of self, really work on, you know, clearing the clutter, clearing the trauma. You know, it's about unlearning the programming to kind of like be a blank canvas and relearn what is your own individual truth within your journey, in order to allow for these parts of you to be seen and for you to be able to integrate them.
Yeah. Well said. So I know you have some other spaces and activities coming up that people can be a part of. And I know you were also just a part of a galactic conference recently. How was that experience for you?
Oh, it was lovely. I actually organized it with a friend of mine, the Starseed Conference. Yeah, I was one of the organizers. It was in San Diego. It was really lovely. It was on the 7/7. I'm running a Costa Rica retreat in November from the 17th to the 22nd, 6 days, 5 nights. Really, really powerful. Again, we're going to be working with more dragons, with the elements. We're going to be, there's going to be some plant medicine as well. I'm going to be working with hape, with cacao. So it's going to be really beautiful. And then I'll be in the States in early 2025. So yeah, this is my Costa Rica retreat. So I'm closing in the next like few days. So if you want, you must really like book like now, because yeah, we almost had capacity, and then because of organization and time limits, we need to close soon. So that's it basically. And then I'm going to be in the States in the end of January and February. So last week of January, I'm going to be in New York City. I'm running a workshop there as well. So that if you go on my website, tickets are already available, and I will be taking one-on-one in person. Please, guys, if you want to book for my one-on-one in person, you need to contact me through my website. Or through my email, because that's not an option. You can't just go and buy it. You know, you need to contact me, because I'm not taking a lot of people. I'm only in New York for like a week. So, and contact me sooner rather than later, because I'm already quite booked. Then I'm going to be speaking at the Conscious Life Expo like last year. This year I'll be speaking about grid work and the planetary grid, and how to assist, and how you can actually help and assist in activating and opening up more of, you know, Earth's dormant ley lines and portals and energy. So that will be, I think it's like the 8th or the 9th of February. It's like a 4-day event. So I'll be speaking on the Saturday evening, and then I will be holding another workshop in LA, and I will be taking one-on-ones in LA at that moment in time as well. So again, if you want to connect with a one-on-one, please message me directly. I'm still doing my 6-week and 6-month program. I'm still doing light language activations, Akasha clearings. So there's quite a few things that I still offer. I've got about 20 different workshops on my website that you guys can have a look through and check out. And then I've got my collective healing coming up on the 15th of October. That's $15, 45 minutes of channeled light language, really powerful. You even get an image and feedback at the end. It's a recording. The 11/11 event that we already mentioned. And then I'm going to be doing a few more events in the States further on in next year. So I think around June, I'll be in Vegas. I'm hosting a retreat in Vegas. And then I will be probably at Disclosure Fest as well in LA. But if you do want one-on-one when I'm in the States now, yeah, contact me sooner rather than later. And yeah, I'm offering a channeling masterclass as well. I've got an abundance mentorship, and I've got a few different workshops as well. If you just go on the store page of my website, then you can see all of them there, basically. So I think that's kind of it. I mean, I've got a lot of stuff, so you guys must just go on my store page. I've got light written
Yeah, you
codes,
definitely are.
personalized codes. Like I offer a lot of things.
You're doing your thing out there, and I just gotta say thank you. Thank you for being you and dedicating yourself to what you do. You know, I know it's not always easy, that's for sure. Especially when we're trying to keep up with the momentum and keep up with the pace. I know at times it can feel like we can get behind, you know, in the illusionary self of the mind. And I just want to say good job, like from soul to soul. Good job with doing what you do. You definitely deserve some kudos. You know, it takes a lot of
Thank you.
energy, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of willpower, and also a lot of maintenance and spiritual self-care. So
Yeah, it does.
yeah, thank you.
It does. Thank you.
So as you guys saw, I shared with you guys a little bit of the link tree that she has, the things that are coming up, her website. They will all be down below in the description for you guys to access at any time. And of course, if people wanted to like reach out and ask questions about services and stuff like that, should they email you or what would work best?
Yeah, rather through my website. There's like a box where you can write questions and contact me, or directly from my email, which is also you can find on my website. I don't really get back to Instagram messages and things like that. Like it's they all go in the other folder. So like rather you can try on Instagram, like you might be lucky and I'll see it. But if you want to get to me, like rather go through my website. And I answer all my emails myself. It's not like someone else will read the emails. I'll get back to you personally.
Sounds great. Well, I guess for this one, this will do very nicely, and I really appreciate you coming on today. And if you wanted to, I'll leave the floor open to you to close out with a little bit of that wonderful light language.
Sure, I'll do a transmission. Yeah. So you can close your eyes and start anchoring into the body as you find your comfortable breathing rhythm. With every inhale, you breathe in light. With every exhale, you release all that doesn't serve you anymore. As you relax the body, the system, the energy field, you stay in a space of openness and oneness. And as we call on the Archangelic Collective, Michael to the south, Uriel to the north, Raphael to the east, and Gabriel to the west, we call on Archangel Metatron with his blue cloak of protection from above, and sound off on to seal the grid from below. As we call on our higher selves, our spirit guides, and anyone else who wishes to be present for the greatest and highest good, you're welcome in the space. Trana yetakiera takria tre aseyo ku aishera ya trea kietara isietara. Trea trea kiet kora yasera niyo taya shie kukara isera isera yata. Opening systems, opening. Rashia te kasi kukwara ishera yatra. Reatric ora sisai senaite aishera yatre ukua ishera yatra. Expanding, clearing, releasing, letting go, depoint, detangling, removing old energies, clearing, expanding into more light, divine rays, anchoring. Ratia te kokoa ishena se kokoa raya ishera taka. Rakiera taka crea se socoraia cheia te coi xeraiatra. Trea treocura e se caia e chessa se sorocoaia te anaiata. Tria karea tria se okoa ishe sasiara teka chetka si saroyeta raya shinayataka. Yo 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 yo. Releasing, opening, opening, expanding. Into more light, divine rays, anchoring. Yo 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 yo. Na, rea tre kokora isera yatara. Raya tera quiero cocoa a sierra seta isha nayatre a kietko raya reatre okoa ise ratre a tieta rate kona isia. Taina yera ta krik raya tre a tre ko ise okoa ise sarai. Niata ratre okura isietaka. Shkuraya sera tre a te okoka ishe nayata. Trana yata reatre oko ra re ya rea seta siese koa ishera yatri. Triataria kiete keno koa inasia seta re aishe yataka korokot kraya saratra. Trei a tres saya kietu koa ishe nayatak. Trianaria tre kie koa ishe sa sierra tre a kiero koa kiera tra. Trena yata sisi ai a essa yetara. Tara essa yetara tre a tieto ko at kiera ra trena yate ke ishe naratrakt. Traya ratri ateia sek koa ishe rayatra. Trea naratre a kietoka sisi esaya te karo oa ishe naratra. Shikoa ishe ria takri atre okoa ise sesei aseya te ka ruara tre atia te kara ise tara. Shikora ishe nayata. Nara yatria siro okoro ise grounding, anchoring, grounding, closing, sealing, 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 closing, clearing peripheral, clearing, releasing, attuning, grounding, yot kora ishe sayatera isharayatra. Nahashira taretu kuate kara sira taratia shira yataka. Na taishin yataka. Taishin yatarai sekuma sia sarayataka. Okay. As you come back to the now, to the present moment, you can ground back in. And now if you're ready, you can open your eyes. How are you feeling?
I know I'm feeling a little bit lighter. I felt more, for me personally, it was like almost like an assistance. I was like assisting the energy and doing some movement with it. Wow, it was wonderful. How are you all feeling in the comments? Feel free to put it in the comments. And thank you again. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your authenticity with us and being who you are, sister.
Pleasure.
So as we close this out, yeah, absolutely. And as we close out, for everyone out there that, is kind of in their beginning stages and just unlocking these gifts within and are really trying to navigate with them and feel comfortable with being in them and presenting them, what is just any final message or any final words that you have for all those out there?
Yeah, I think, guys, just trust yourselves and, trust that your heart knows. Stay in your truth. Boundaries are really important. So don't allow for people to step over you, but also for people to invalidate your experience. Like, what you're feeling is real. There's a lot of us out there. A lot of people are going through the same things. So I think, yeah, and just know that you're always divinely guided and stay in that space of surrender. but really try to be present and try to understand that life is happening for you and not to you. And and just know that, again, your guides are just waiting for you to ask them to help, so ask your guides, call an assistance. There's a lot of help out there. There's a lot of, I post free content every single day for people. So there's a lot of free content that you can find, and you'll be guided to where you need to go to find the information that is right for you at that moment in time.
Ashe. Ashe to that. Well, sister, thank you so much again. We got some thank yous in the comments, and then one person said they had dark energy and was having a headache, but it disappeared, and now they feel light. So, thank you.
Wonderful. And just know, guys, you'll be processing and releasing for a few days. It can take a little bit for the work to integrate. So you will be recalibrating. So if you feel emotions come up, or you feel a little bit irritated, or you feel like you don't want to be around people in the next few hours, maybe a day or two, it's very, very normal. So don't worry.
Absolutely. Stay on that spiritual hygiene, self-care, guys. Take care of yourselves. Hydrate very well with clean water as well. All right, so that does it for this Sacred Light conversation. Light Codes by Allah. Thank you so much again, sister, for joining us. And everybody out there, have a blessed day. Wholeness and balanced love.